O Lord, God of my salvation, at night when I cry out before you, let my prayer come before you. Incline your ear to my cry. For my soul is full of troubles, and my life draws near to Sheol. I am counted among those who go down to the pit. I am like those who have no help, like those forsaken among the dead, like the slain that lie in the grave, like those whom you remember no more, for they are cut off from your hand. You have put me in the depths of the pit, in the regions dark and deep. Your wrath lies heavy upon me, and you overwhelm me with all your waves. You have caused my companions to shun me. You have made me a thing of horror to them. I am shut in so that I cannot escape. My eye grows dim through sorrow. Every day I call on you, O Lord. I spread out my hands to you. Do you work wonders for the dead? Do the shades rise up to praise you? Is your steadfast love declared in the grave, or your faithfulness in Abaddon? Are your wonders known in the darkness, or your saving help in the land of forgetfulness? But I, O Lord, cry out to you. In the morning my prayer comes before you. Lord, why do you cast me off? Why do you hide your face from me? Wretched and close to death from my youth up, I suffer your terrors. I am desperate. Your wrath has swept over me. Your dread assaults destroy me. They surround me like a flood all day long. From all sides they close in on me. You have caused friend and neighbor to shun me. My companions are in darkness. The word of life. This week we turn our attention to the big laments that are a part of every believer's life. These are the times and situations in which we find our world turning upside down. Such times are disorienting and filled with deep grief. Such times are, some worry that our grief is too great for God, or that it is inappropriate to share what is really on our hearts, especially when what is on our hearts is confusion and even rage. It is here that the scriptures can give voice to the deep stirrings of our hearts. Consider Psalm 88, a psalm of rage, lament, grief, and sorrow from beginning to end. It is raw, it is real, it ends in dust and shadows and loneliness. And this psalm made it into the Bible. This suggests that our big moments of grief and sadness are also held in God's loving hands. No grief, no sorrow is too great for the God who so loves this world. Psalm 88 could be called an existential lament, a cry in which the lamenter asks why God has abandoned him and even why his life should continue. You could call it a rebuke of Psalm 139, which declares, "If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there." Speaking as one who was once in the depths of clinical depression, I can tell you there is no God there. At least, no God who is easily visible. As an aside, although this is not the main subject of my meditation, if any of you have had someone close to you who has acted on suicidal ideation, please know that it wasn't your fault. When I was in the depths, I couldn't be reached from the outside. It wasn't your fault. Depression is the deepest lament beyond all sadness. Again from Psalm 88, I am counted among those who go down to the pit. I am like those who have no help, like those forsaken among the dead, like the slain that lie in the grave, like those whom you remember no more, for they are cut off from your hand. When I was mired in depression, I remember saying to my wife, the only thing that is keeping me alive is the thought of my children growing up without a father. She said, hold on to that. It wasn't until much later that I realized that God was in fact there with me through thoughts of my children. You may not know how difficult it is for an introvert like me to acknowledge that God can be there through other people. People like me persist in seeking God in prayer, meditation, and other solitary practices, but often neglect to pay attention to the image of God in others. Dietrich Bonhoeffer had something to say about that in his book, Life Together. He wrote, "Let him who cannot be alone beware of community. Let him who is not in community beware of being alone." You could say God is in other people, but also in me. God is in me, but also in other people. A quote from Pastor Lori Newman: "We are spiritual beings learning to be human." Sometime I would like to talk with Pastor Lori about the Gnostic implications of that thought, but that's another meditation. If we are spiritual beings, then maybe other people can catch a glimpse of the Spirit in us. If God is in us, then maybe other people can catch a glimpse of God in us. May God grant us the grace that even in the midst of our deepest laments, we are able to see God in one another.